I secretly had a 2-year online relationship with my boss without her knowing it was me, ended things abruptly, and now she's devastated, suspicious, and dangerously close to discovering the truth that could ruin both my career and personal life forever. I started an online relationship with my boss meeting in person. That's never going to happen. She has no idea the person she's been flirting with online is one of her employees. Lately, my boss has been in a terrible mood. Everyone at the office has noticed, and the tension is palpable. Even the laziest employees have been behaving, barely daring to glance at their phones. She's been working like a machine, putting in overtime, and of course no one dares to leave before her. Because of that, we've all been staying at the office until 11 or 12 at night. I have massive dark circles under my eyes and my skin has started acting up, but probably I'm the only one in the company who knows the reason for her bad mood. It's because my boss just got dumped. And while I'm the one who broke up with her, she just doesn't know it yet. It all started with my 2-year online relationship. We met on a forum. She had posted a message titled, "Why can't I find a partner curious?" I clicked on the post. Female, 5 feet 9 inches and 99 pounds 25. Years old, graduate in management science and engineering from an Ivy League university, currently a vice president at a Fortune 500 company with a 7-figure salary. I have a house, a car, and I'm beautiful, still single. What am I doing wrong? The comments were merciless, obviously an attention-seeking post. Next, seriously, a 25-year-old VP, either it's daddy's company or it's daddy's company. Oh, please at least make your lies believable. Amused, I left a comment. Maybe it's your open appearance, why not post a picture? I didn't think much of it and left the site. A few hours later, she sent me a private message. "Hey, can I send you a picture privately?" I was confused but intrigued. Sure, I replied, thinking it could be fun. A moment later, a picture popped up. I nearly spit my coffee on the screen. 5 feet 9 inches, and maybe in her dreams, she looked like she was barely 5 feet 3 inches. In the photo was a poorly framed mirror selfie. Her face was partially obscured. She wore thick black rimmed glasses, and she looked like a walking advertisement for outdated fashion, but her features were undeniably stunning. The lips, the nose, the eyes, everything screamed hidden beauty. She just didn't know how to present herself, and for some reason, she seemed strangely familiar. Thinking about how many gorgeous women out there are oblivious to their potential, I decided to help out of pure kindness. Of course, I zoomed in and out on the picture a few times before writing a detailed reply. You need to improve your style. Swap the glasses for something more subtle, or try contacts. Don't take pictures from that angle. Tilt the phone slightly so the charging port points toward you. Change the skirt for something shorter, maybe black, and for the love of God, invest in better lighting. She responded with a simple "Thank you so much." I didn't give it much thought and went about my life. The next day, she sent me a new task submission following all my advice, and then she did it again and again, day after day. By the 5th day, I was already getting annoyed. That's when she asked if she could pay me for my consulting services and requested my personal contact details. I thought, why not? Money is money, and gave her my private account. A moment later, a familiar profile picture popped up with a friend request. It was my boss. I froze, my fingers slipped, and before I could stop myself, I accepted. Panic set in immediately. I adjusted my settings to chat only and prayed she wouldn't figure out who I was. A message appeared. "Thank you so much for all your advice. Here's a small token of appreciation." Then she sent me $5,000 with a note, gift, no strings attached. I stared at the screen in silence. I double-checked her profile picture and the images she had sent me online. Yep, no doubt about it, my stunning online crush was in fact my boss. Well, crap, I thought, accepting the money. At least she doesn't know it's me. After that, I continued helping her improve her style. She learned quickly and soon exuded confidence. But just when I was gearing up to quietly exit her life, she caught me off guard. She confessed her feelings. It started with a long emotional message, a love letter, so to speak. I schemed through the fluff until I got to the last line. "I've wanted to tell you this for a long time. I like you." I froze. "Thanks," I replied after a long pause. What she asked, I appreciate it. I typed back, "No, I'm serious. I really like you and value your help." She was silent for a moment before sending another message. "Can I at least have a chance to win you over?" I didn't reply that night. I couldn't sleep. The next morning, she started sending me good morning, good afternoon, and good night messages. She kept me updated about her day, as if we were already dating. Heading to work, just arrived at the office, about to start a meeting. Her persistence was, to say the least, unique. I replied disinterestedly here and there, but it only seemed to encourage her more. A month later, things took an unexpected turn. I was scrolling through social media, admiring pictures of models when I accidentally shared one of them with Aurora instead of my friend. Wow, she's gorgeous. I'd lick the screen, I wrote, followed by a video. She replied almost instantly with a question mark. By the time I saw the message, it was too late to delete it. Sure, appreciating beauty is natural, but for some reason I felt a pang of guilt. Then out of nowhere, she sent a message. Is this your type? Attached was a video. It seemed freshly recorded at a gym. It wasn't the type of extremely muscular physique, but pale, smooth skin with a defined line disappearing just below the workout shorts up top. Well, let's say it was pink. The person in the video seemed a bit shy. By the end of the clip, her face was completely red with embarrassment. I was mesmerized. Got more? Send me another, I replied immediately. She hesitated, but eventually sent a few more videos, each more stunning than the last. I'll admit, I was completely captive, invaded by her beauty. Who could have imagined that my boss, always so serious and composed, could be like this in private? How to describe it? It was strangely thrilling. Just as I was enjoying it all, another message popped up. If you agree to be my boyfriend, I'll send you videos like this every day, as many as you want. People spend their lives chasing money, power, fame, and beauty. The first, they don't mean much to me, but the last one, that's my weakness. Well, I guess I could consider it, I replied. After all, it was just an online relationship, right? Of course, I set some ground rules. No public announcements, no changing profile pictures, no video calls, and absolutely no meeting in real life. She wasn't thrilled with the conditions, but eventually agreed, and that's how it started. We dated online for 2 years as she improved her style and showcased her beauty. I was more than happy to reap the benefits. Her photos and videos became increasingly impressive, and she nailed every suggestion I made. I thought this arrangement could last forever, until one day she asked to meet in person. Didn't we agree from the start that there would be no meetings? This is strictly an online thing, I reminded her. She seemed hurt. I know, sorry, but I really want to see you. I knew exactly why she was pushing for it. A few days earlier, I attended an alumni reunion. Afterward, an old classmate confessed her feelings for me. I politely declined, but she didn't take it well and started bombarding me with embarrassing messages. Frustrated, I took screenshots, posted everything on social media, and exposed her before blocking her. Since I was in a relationship, even if only online, my boss probably saw the post. I figured she wanted me to stake her claim publicly, but I had my reasons for not wanting to meet her. There was no way I could agree. After avoiding her attempts for a week, I eventually got annoyed and ended the relationship. She was utterly devastated, like a deflated balloon. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. With her calls, I sighed, placed the phone face down on the table, and ignored it. That's when Kenneth, my direct supervisor, called me over. Mason, take this proposal to Aurora. Kenneth's crush on Aurora was the office's worst kept secret. Normally, he would find any excuse to see her, but lately she had been in a terrible mood. The last time he tried to console her, she was so curt that he practically ran out of her office. I gazed. Kenneth, isn't this a bit above my pay grade? Shouldn't you be doing this instead? Don't make me repeat myself. Fine. Even though I'd basically seen everything about Aurora online, meeting her in person was still nerve-wracking, especially at work, where she was known for being strict, sharp-tongued, and even intimidating. I hesitated and grabbed my phone. Since I'd broken up with her, Aurora had been bombarding me with apologies. I hadn't responded, not because I didn't care, but because I needed to let things cool down. I quickly typed a message, we don't need to break up, but could you please behave? I really don't like it when people break promises. Her response came instantly, baby, you're finally talking to me. I'll never do it again, I promise. She even added a crying puppy emoji. I sighed, mustering my courage before knocking on her office door. There was a brief silence before I heard her clear her throat and say come in. Her red and nose caught my attention. As soon as I walked in, had she been crying? Aurora noticed my gaze and a little uncomfortable tapped the desk lightly. Leave the proposal here and go. Her tone was noticeably softer than usual. On any other day, she would have scolded me for going over Kenneth's head. Still, the proposal wasn't up to her standards and was sent back for revision. Naturally, Kenneth threw the work back at me on Friday. Everyone else left early, excited for the weekend. Aurora, for the first time, left on time, and the office quickly emptied, leaving just me and the receptionist. I stayed behind to work on the proposal, promising the receptionist I'd lock everything up when I was done. It was past 10 p.m. when I heard the sound of the door unlocking. My heart raced. Who could it be at this hour? Images from horror movies flashed through my mind. I swallowed hard, reminding myself that ghosts weren't real. Even so, I froze, holding my breath. Then a familiar figure appeared. It was Aurora. Why are you still here? Don't you have a home to go to? She asked, visibly surprised. I held back the urge to snap back. Whose fault do you think this is? I thought. Instead, I replied, the proposal is due tomorrow, and I didn't want to risk leaving it unfinished. I thought it'd be better to stay late, and completed. Her expression softened. Oh, that proposal. I'll help you. It'll go faster if I just explain what I want directly. I froze. My computer was logged into my personal account, the same one I used to message her. She stepped closer. Open it for me. I want to take a look. Panic set in my mind raised as I scrambled to buy time. Wait a second, I exclaimed almost without thinking. As Aurora approached, I felt my heart pounding. My computer was right there with a tab open, exposing my secret identity. Every step she took toward me felt like it echoed in the silent office. I needed to think fast. Wait, just a second, I said, placing my hand on the keyboard as if guarding something confidential. Aurora raised an eyebrow, curious, and stopped, crossing her arms. Why the rush? Mason, what are you hiding? Her voice had a playful tone that under different circumstances might have been charming, but here it only added to the tension. It's not that it's just the file isn't ready yet. I was finalizing some adjustments. You know, I don't want you to see an incomplete draft. It was a weak excuse, and I knew it. Aurora narrowed her eyes, clearly suspicious, but she stepped back. All right, I'll wait, but be quick. I don't have all night. She moved to the desk next to mine and sat down, crossing her legs. Her presence was overwhelming, and every second felt like an eternity. I kept typing furiously, but my mind was elsewhere. How to get out of this without her finding out? I needed a distraction. Aurora, are you sure you want to review this now? You look exhausted. Maybe we could go over it tomorrow with fresh minds. It was a shot in the dark, but to my surprise, she let out a small sigh and uncrossed her arms. You're right, I am tired, but I can't leave things unfinished. You know how I am. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment it felt like there was something deeper in her words. While she spoke, I realized that her intensity didn't come just from work. It was something personal. Maybe it was about the breakup, or perhaps it was the pressure she put on herself. Either way, it gave me an opening. All right, give me 5 minutes, and I'll send you a preliminary version to review at your convenience. I quickly opened another tab and created a fake draft with some generic ideas. It wasn't brilliant, but it would buy me time. She nodded, but her expression was still strange, as if she wanted to say more. Mason, can I ask you something? Her voice was low, almost hesitant, which was rare for her. Of course, I was expecting something work-rated, but what she said next caught me completely off guard. Why did you break up with me? Was it something I did? Was it me? Her eyes locked onto mine, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen before. She wasn't a tough, confident boss anymore. This was Aurora, the woman I knew, online, open, and hurt. I felt a lump form in my throat. I could come up with some excuse, but something in her expression disarmed me. Aurora, it wasn't you. I felt like things were moving too fast, that maybe we crossed some boundaries we shouldn't have. She looked down, biting her lower lip. I see, but you never gave me a chance to fix it. You just cut everything off suddenly. Do you know what that did to me? I didn't know how to respond. There was no justification that could fix this. But before I could say anything, she stood up. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Let's focus on work. Okay. Her posture shifted back to the compass boss, but the way she avoided my gaze said this wasn't resolve for her. I handed her the improvised draft, and she reviewed it silently. Every time her eyes moved across the text, I braced myself for the worst. Finally, she spoke. It's not bad. It could work with some adjustments. I'll send it to Kenneth as it is. Good night, Mason. She left without looking back, leaving the room in oppressive silence. I sat down, exhausted, staring at my computer screen. My secret identity was safe for now, but something told me it wouldn't stay that way for long. Aurora was perceptive, and I knew she wouldn't let things go as they were. She wanted answers, and sooner or later she'd find out the truth, and when she did, I had no idea how she'd react, but for now I just wanted to forget everything and go home. As I packed up my things, a notification popped up on my phone. It was a message from Aurora. I still think you're hiding something, but whatever it is, I'll find out. I swallowed hard. I knew this wasn't just a simple suspicion. She was determined, and I was about to face the consequences of all my choices the next morning. Aurora was different. She didn't glance at me as she usually did, nor did she make her usual quick remarks about tasks. Instead, she seemed more reserved, almost calculating. That alone was a red flag. I spent the entire day with a gnawing feeling that something was about to happen, but I couldn't have guessed just how right I was. At the end of the day, as I was tidying my desk, I received a message from her. I need to talk to you, conference room. Now the cold tone of the text was unusual, especially after the emotional tone of our recent interactions. I took a deep breath, bracing myself for the worst. When I entered the room, Aurora was sitting at the head of the table, a laptop open in front of her. She didn't look at me immediately, continuing to type for a few more seconds before finally raising her eyes. Her expression was a mix of bewilderment and suspicion. She closed the laptop with a sharp click and crossed her arms. "So, Mason," she began, her voice cold as ice. "Care to explain this?" I froze. "Explain what?" She picked up her phone, opened a file, and slid it across the table toward me. It was a compilation of messages, images, and videos exchanged between us during our 2-year online relationship. My advice, my responses, the photos she had sent, it was all there. But what stunned me was the fact that she had screenshots of my profile, something I had never sent her directly. "How did you get this?" I asked, panic rising. Aurora tilted her head, her eyes locked onto mine. "I'm a vice president at a Fortune 500 company. Mason, did you really think I couldn't connect the dots? You were sloppy. A detail here, another there, and voila." She made a gesture with her hands as if solving a puzzle. "Listen, Aurora, I can explain," I began, but she cut me off with a wave of her hand. "Explain? Go ahead, try, because from where I'm standing this is sick." She stood up, pacing the room as she continued. "You knew who I was from the start, and instead of being honest, you stuck around, pulling strings, manipulating me, watching me up close, while pretending to be someone else. That's not normal, Mason. That's obsession." "It wasn't like that," I protested. "I never meant to manipulate you. I got caught in a situation that spiraled out of control. I never planned any of this." "Oh, didn't you?" She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Then why did you continue? Why did you accept the money? Why did you let me be vulnerable, knowing I trusted you blindly?" I opened my mouth to respond, but the words failed me. Anything I could say felt hollow, like a flimsy excuse. Aurora wasn't just my boss, she was an intelligent woman who now viewed everything I had done in the worst possible light. "You know what this makes me think?" She leaned slightly forward, her hands braced on the table between us. "That you have a problem, a serious problem. You built this relationship with me knowing who I was, and never stopped to think about the impact it would have on me." When the truth came out, "Aurora, I care about you," I said, my voice heavy with emotion. "I know I made mistakes, but I never wanted it to end like this. I just wanted to be close to you, be close to me." She let out a bitter laugh. "You were close to me the entire time, Mason, at work, in the halls and meetings, and yet you decided to create a version of yourself to deceive me. That's not care, that's control." "I never wanted to control you," I said, trying to defend myself. "I fell for you before I even knew who you were in real life. When I found out, I was scared of losing you, scared it would ruin everything. And it did, Mason." She sat back down, crossing her arms. "Again, I trusted you truly, but now all I see is a man who crossed every boundary, someone who turned what could have been something real into a twisted game of lies." I felt a lump in my throat. She had every right to be angry. I had made terrible choices driven by fear and indecision. "So that's it?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "It's over." Aurora stared at me for a long moment, her eyes scrutinizing every inch of my face. "I don't know, Mason," she said finally, her voice softer, but still firm. "What I do know is that right now I need distance. I need to think about whether I can ever trust you again, or if everything you represent is just a reminder of how I was deceived." She stood up, picking up her laptop and heading toward the door. Before leaving, she paused and glanced over her shoulder. "One last thing, Mason. I truly hope you understand the impact of your choices, because right now I don't know who you really are." When the door closed behind her, the silence in the room was deafening. I sat there alone, staring at the empty space and reflecting on everything. There was no UND doing what I had done, but perhaps there was still a chance to learn from it. Aurora was right. My choices had led us to this point, and now if I wanted to earn her trust again, it wouldn't be through words but actions, or perhaps I simply had to accept that this was the end.